Hi guys, it's day one of my video project and it's March 29th and I'm learning how to sew. I got Sewing for Dummies by Jan Saunders Maresh, and I have basically looked through this book, found the important pieces, and I have highlighted sections that I really want to work on. So I guess to explain why I chose the how-to that I chose, everybody in my family can sew except for me, so I feel kind of like the outcast, and I'm always asking everybody else for help. Like if I'm making a costume, I always have to have my mom or my sister help me sew it, or make them sew it for me because I'm a jerk. I'm always asking other people to hem my pants because short people have that problem, and I feel like I should be able to handle it myself. So I figure, why not sew? I'm gonna be starting with picking a pattern and a fabric at Joann's today, and then after that I'm going to be using the pattern and the fabric to actually make a garment, and after that I'm going to be adding buttons, zippers, pockets, bows, just other things that they include in the book, like little how-tos, and hopefully by the end of the project I'll be able to show you guys a finished product, and hopefully it won't be really ugly, and hopefully throughout this thing I'll get more pins and needles in the fabric than myself. So, please enjoy. I hope you won't get to laugh at me too much.
Saw it coming miles away, the passion fading fast. Love was now a chore to me, never first on my mind, always last.
Hey guys, it's April 2nd, and this is my first progress report. I'm going to be reflecting on how I think I did looking for a pattern and a fabric at Joann's. And as you guys saw, I was looking through books while I was there trying to find my pattern. Then you're supposed to go look in a drawer, but I was looking on the shelves, so I wasn't doing it right. The book, in all honesty, was not helpful for this section of my project, but I did end up asking my mom and my sister to help me find a pattern and a fabric because they are veterans when it comes to this stuff. So they told me their suggestion was to go to Goodwill and to get a pattern. So I got a 69-cent pattern, which is a lot cheaper than, if I were to be at Joann's, it would be $5, $10, $15, Lord knows. I ended up getting a fabric at a cheaper fabric store too. So they basically helped me find ways to save money, and they kind of helped guide me in like choosing the right fabric and the size of the fabric, which is nice. So I feel like I have improved so far in the sense that now I know where to look for patterns. Maybe I know a little bit more about fabric now and how fabric reacts, and how it acts when you sew it, and what's going to be best with the sewing machine we have, because my mom and my sister guided me through that. Basically, the book, like I said, was not helpful, but I'm getting there. So the next part is going to be actually laying the fabric out with the pattern and pinning it down and cutting and sewing. So now is where the bulk of my project is going to be this next couple of parts. So I'm going to start with that, and you guys will get to see how I do with that process, and then I will get back with another progress report.
Saw it coming miles away, the passion fading fast. Love was now a chore to me, never first on my mind, always last.
Hey guys, it's April 5th, and this is my second progress report. I just got done cutting my pattern out, and I'm going to be reflecting on that. So I don't think it was as hard as I thought it was going to be. There were a lot less pieces than I thought there were going to be that I had to cut out, so I'm glad about that. Things that confused me though, I was expecting a different size, so when I took my measurements it was a different size than I wear, but I guess that's okay, it's just a number, no big deal, as long as it fits in the end. I was also kind of confused because when I opened the package, there was a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't need. So like there were different styles of the dress that I was making. So like mine was garment B, so I had to use only the stuff that was meant for garment B. So kind of confusing, but I mean I figured it out. I ended up throwing like half the stuff away though because it didn't go with it, but no big deal. So So, reflecting on the book in this case, I felt like the book was really helpful because there was a lot of stuff that it told me that was seriously really beneficial to me. He told me what the different parts of the dress were called. So when it says like that this model is this, I know what it means. The book also told me where to look for where my measurements would match up with my size. That's how I knew that. It talked about the different markings on the pattern itself that you should and should not be cutting out. So I feel like I made sure to cut what I needed to cut and keep what I needed to keep. So I'm content with that. The next piece that I'm going to be working on is pinning the fabric to the pattern and then sewing. So that's the next part, and you guys will get to see that. Hopefully, this is the part I'm afraid of all the pins and needles, so I hope it goes well and my hand doesn't end up with band-aids all over it. So, wish me luck. Hey guys, this is my third progress report. So right now I'm actually still in the process of cutting out my fabric to go along with my pattern. In all honesty, this is one of the more daunting parts of the thing. I have to make sure it's cut in the right way. I'm not enjoying it too much. I'm actually needing a lot more help than I thought I was going to need. And like I said, I'm not liking this part at all. And the book kind of only had a brief section about this. There's not much that I have to really know to do it, but I do have to follow directions. Like if the pattern says cut 2 on the fold, I need to know what that is, and I don't. So I actually ended up having to ask my mom a couple of different times, what does this mean, what does that mean, and why do I have to do this? And so things like cut 2 on the fold, it means, you know, cut the same thing twice, but fold it in half and don't cut on the fold or it's wrong. And then there's another piece that'll say cut 4, and I'm confused, why am I cutting 4 of the same thing when in all honesty I only need 2? So I'm making a lot of my own decisions on this. I'm not listening to the book or the instructions. I'm just kind of winging it at this point because I don't like cutting out the fabric. I guess because I'm getting to that home stretch part where everything's a little bit more tedious and annoying than I'd like. But it is what it is, and I'm kind of in the last bit of the project, so I'm gonna finish cutting stuff today, and then the next thing you guys will get to see is me actually sewing the thing. It's going to be ridiculous. Probably won't turn out the way it's supposed to look, but I'm hoping to be able to have the dress complete to actually bring into class, so you guys will get to see it. Let's hope I get to that point.
Saw it coming miles away, the passion fading fast. Love was now a chore to me, never first on my mind, always last.
Hey guys, it's April 25th, and this is my last progress report. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a rant. So let's talk about this book that has hardly helped me at all. Thank you, Jan Saunders Rash, for having zero good advice. Okay, while I'm doing this, honestly, I have referenced the book once or twice just to see if I missed something, and honestly, I'm not missing anything. The book just hasn't given me anything, so honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I hate the book. Other things aren't helpful. Right, I'm working with a pattern, and they come with these instructions, right? You know, they're supposed to tell me everything I need to know. You know what it doesn't have? Everything I need to know. And it's completely not in English, I swear, because it's showing me pictures that just don't make any sense. Honestly, if you could see these, you'd be confused too, and it just makes sense to me. It's gibberish. The pictures aren't helpful. I don't know what the heck gathering is. Something that should have been in here. Just saying. And then, let's talk about how much I don't like sewing machines. I've never liked sewing machines. I'm not good at using them. And I have found out that when you make a mistake on a sewing machine, you get to use one of these. let's talk about these things. This is a seam ripper, and the super fun thing that you get to do with a seam ripper is, you guessed it, rip seams. So if that's a seam on there, I get to just slide it in there and pop the seam all the way across until I'm done, and then I gotta rip out all that and get it to come off. So I get to do that. And basically the goal for this piece that I'm working on is to make it look all scrunchy like this. Sewing machine did not want to help with that, and we found out the problem was not necessarily the sewing machine, but the thread. I'm using the wrong kind of thread. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm very confused. I'm doing the best I can. I don't know if I'm going to get the dress done before the end of the project. It should be fun. I'm hoping that by the time I give you guys a conclusion, I will be done with this, because I don't know how much more I can take. So, wish me luck. We apologize for the rant and now return to our originally scheduled programming. So to recap, I definitely feel like I learned how to follow directions on a pattern. I actually learned a couple of new techniques, like how to scrunch a sleeve. I learned how to iron something, which is new for me. And in the end, I came out with a really cool dress that I wasn't expecting to look like that. Hey guys, it's April 28th, and this is the conclusion to my how-to project. And in reflection, I feel as though I did relatively well, considering I started basically from scratch, having no knowledge about sewing really. I'm content that I learned how to use a sewing machine. I think that's a really cool thing that I now know how to do. I learned how to iron things. I learned how to follow a pattern. I learned how to properly put different parts of a dress together. I learned different techniques, like I don't know what it's called for sure, but I learned how to like be able to scrunch a sleeve kind of thing. So if I want something like poofy, you know. So I feel like I learned a lot. I feel like this project was really beneficial to me, because now, more than anything, I feel like I'm comfortable with a sewing machine, which is something that I before was never comfortable with. I didn't know the settings. I didn't know how to put a bobbin on, which it's hard to explain, but yeah, that's something that you need to know how to do in order to make a garment, which now I can say that I've successfully done. In reflection of the book, I kind of feel as though the book was unhelpful. I've expressed that throughout. However, I will kind of give the book credit for, I didn't know a lot of the terminology used in like the instructions for my pattern. So when I went back and referenced in the book, it actually helped me out a little bit. Mind you, there were some things that just weren't in there, and that was like when Google was my saving grace. But yeah, I don't feel like the book was as helpful as it could have been, especially considering it's supposed to be a book for beginners. I don't feel as though it was, but that's fine. I think the biggest mistake I made throughout this whole thing was getting the pattern that I did, because you're supposed to, if you're just starting out, you're supposed to get a pattern for like beginners. You're supposed to get the easy pattern, and I got a pattern. I realized later that I got a pattern meant for somebody who has years of sewing skills that I don't possess. So having found that out later, I'm actually kind of glad that I did it, because then I could see, this is something really difficult, and I did it. So I want to say that I've moved up from beginner to mediocre at least at this point. So as I said, I'm content. I learned how to use a sewing machine. So if that's the only benefit I get from this, by all means, that's perfectly fine with me. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video, and yeah.